Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
So Dominic Breazeale has yet again said that he's open to fight Dillian Whyte. And as I said to you guys, 3-4 weeks ago now, when I did a video on Dominic Breazeale, he spoke to Fight Hype, I believe it was, where he said that he's open for the idea of taking on Dillian Whyte. And of course, I did these videos, I've done all the polls, and I've been trying to push for this fight for quite some time. Because for me, I don't agree with the whole WBC thing making Dominic Breazeale the mandatory without him having to fight Dillian Whyte. And for me, the best way to sort it out isn't for Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. What's the point? Because Dillian Whyte beating Luis Ortiz, he isn't going to get a title shot until after Dominic Breazeale gets his shot. So you're talking about a year or so after, before the WBC call the mandatory again. So for me, no point with Luis Ortiz, although it's a great fight and I'll be well up for it. So if Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz happens next, I'm not going to hate on it. But as for Dominic Breazeale, as I said to you guys, I've been pushing for it. I've been sending Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte the shots of it, saying try and get this fight done. And hopefully it can happen, because Dominic Breazeale, not only did he do that interview on Fight Hype that I shared with you guys, but he's actually spoken to Sky Sports. And this is what Dominic Breazeale had to say. As soon as I can find it. Okay, here we go. So, Dominic Breazeale's statement. You know, I thought the Dillian Whyte fight and myself was actually going to happen this year. He's bound with the situation with the WBC and his silver belt, and I have my WBC mandatory. I only thought it was right for him and myself to get in the ring and square it off, as the fans would love to see. So hopefully that fight does come in the near future. It's definitely up to Dillian Whyte, but I'm a fan pleaser. If the fans want to see it, I'm going to be the guy to give it. I'm in a situation where the belts are beautiful and I want to hold all the belts by all means, but at the same time, I want to please the fans. If they want to see it, I'm going to make it happen. I was looking to be in the ring earlier this spring, about April, and here we are at the end of the year, so it's definitely time. We're looking at October, maybe even November. As far as an opponent, we're still searching. The UK did a phenomenal job of having me there. The hospitality was phenomenal. I gained a ton of fans and I can't wait to come back. That's Dominic Breazeale's statement. So, it's good that he's saying this kind of thing. I mean, for me, this fight should have happened quite a while ago. Now, of course, when Anthony Joshua, he fought, was it Carlos Takam? And Dillian Whyte was on the undercard. Didn't he fight Robert Helenius? Now, this whole Robert Helenius thing come at the very, very end with about 2 or 3 weeks left before the event, before this fight happened. And Dominic Breazeale was one of the names that Dillian Whyte and Eddie Hearn were trying to get. But, of course, this fight didn't happen because Dominic Breazeale, he didn't want that situation. He wanted Bermane-Stiverne. Of course, this is where the whole mandatory situation come from. So I don't blame him for not taking it. But at the same time, he did have the opportunity, and he's had opportunities since, but has opted not to. So either way, again, I don't blame Breazeale too much, because obviously once he got the Stiverne fight, he got the contract to be the mandatory should he beat Stiverne. Stiverne then pulled out, fought Deontay Wilder. Then Eric Molina stepped in. WBC still allowed him to have this as a final eliminator for the mandatory. Even though the WBC said, no, Eddie Hearn is not going to be, so don't worry about it. Dillian Whyte is the WBC silver champion. When final eliminator is called, he will be there. But they didn't do it, they went back on their word. Now, regardless of which side of the fence that you want to sit on, for me, in all fairness, Dillian Whyte versus Dominic Breazeale is a fight that I've been pushing for, a lot of you guys have been pushing for. I know Dillian would love to have this fight, and I'm pretty sure Eddie Hearn would love to settle the WBC cock-up. And let's be clear on that, they did mess it up. Okay, so hopefully this fight happens. I mean, for him to say that he thought that the fight between him and Dillian was actually going to happen this year, then, to be honest, you see, what have you done, Dominic? You know, you've been waiting around for Wilder. Now, again, I don't blame him, because he was on a bit of a promise that he's going to fight Wilder. So the inactivity, of course, does come from that. If you're on like a bit of a promise and you think you're going to get a world title shot, you're not going to put that on hold to go fight somebody else. You're not going to do it. So I'm not going to hate on him for it. So I don't blame him. But for me, it's a very interesting fight. It's a very, very good fight. I mean, I'd certainly favour Dominic Breazeale to do it. Dillian Whyte to do Dominic Breazeale. Just to make that clear, I'm picking Dillian Whyte to win. But, of course, for him to do this, he's going to want a lot of money. As I said to you guys in the previous videos as well, for this fight to happen, Dominic Breazeale is going to want a lot of money to risk his mandatory situation against Dillian Whyte, a risk fight. And to get that kind of fight, he's going to have to be paid the same amount of money, or thereabouts, as what he got to fight Anthony Joshua, which was about 25% of whatever it may be. So he certainly made a lot of money. But to make this fight with Breazeale and Whyte, they're probably going to have to put it on pay-per-view. Whether you like that fight on pay-per-view or not, to get that kind of money to pay Dominic Breazeale, that's what they're going to have to do. So if they do announce this fight, which I hope they do, then expect pay-per-view. If they can do it and not make it pay-per-view, excellent. But if it is, you know what, I'm not going to hate on it. It sorts the WBC situation out, and I would certainly pay for it. I'm a huge fan of Dillian Whyte. He is my favourite heavyweight. So anyway, Dominic Breazeale, big up to him for actually coming out and saying, I want this fight. So let's see what happens. Hopefully Eddie Hearn and Dillian Whyte read this article and they find out about it and contact Al Heyman. Let's get this fight done. Let's just sort out the whole WBC situation. Let's take it out of their hands. Throw the chips in the air, see where they land. For me, Dillian wins, but hey, it's boxing. You never know, right? But anyway, I'm Team Body Snatcher. I believe he's going to win. I hope he's going to win. But first things first, let's get the fight. You drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.